Hello and welcome to the class. My name's Daniel, and today we're going to be looking at part one of the listening. Remember, if you have a question after the class, you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. This is the second of two classes, and it will last just over 20 minutes. First, we're going to talk about highlighting keywords and how paraphrasing is used in the listening test. And then we're going to talk about how to answer matching features questions. So by the end of the session, you'll be more aware of how to answer this type of question in the listening part one. During the class, there'll be questions for you to answer. These will appear below the video, and I'll tell you when you need to answer them, and I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds for each one. So as I just mentioned, matching features are one of the common question types that come up in the listening, and they require you to match a numbered question, 1, 2, or 3, to an option with a letter, A, B, or C. And there will be more letters than numbers, so you don't need to use all of them. Now we're going to take a look at an example of this now. So one would look something like this. It says, which membership matches each description? Choose your answers from the box and write the correct letter A to C next to the questions. So you have the box here. These are your options. You've got A, all facilities are included. B, you can just use the gym or pool. And C, only for off-peak hours. So these are your three options that you need to match to these two types of membership. So the first one, we have the green membership, and the second, we have the orange membership. So this is what a matching features questions look like. You've got the numbers that you have to match one of these letters to. So how do we actually approach this? Well, the first thing we need to do when we see a matching features question is we have to highlight the key words. Now, what I mean by the keywords are kind of the most important words. So for example, they could be nouns and noun phrases. So if we have a look at a question here, and let's choose all the nouns and noun phrases out of it. Well, here we've got facilities. We've got gym and pool. Okay, we've got hours here. We might highlight off-peak hours specifically. And then we've got the words membership in both of these. So these would be the key words here, and they're things we want to listen for when we're doing the listening. Other things that might be keywords are verbs and verb phrases. For example, are included. This is a verb phrase, and use here. So they would also be keywords as well. Another thing would be adjectives like green and orange. So that's another keyword there, and that's going to help us when we're listening. And then adverbs and adverb phrases like only for off-peak hours and just here. So they're quite important because if you think about it, you can use the gym and pool is different to you can just use the gym and pool. It makes quite a big difference. Again, only for off-peak hours and for off-peak hours, the only is emphasizing that it's just for off-peak hours. So those adverbs can change things. So that would be step one, is you need to highlight the key words in there. And then we're going to use the keywords when we're listening to try and find the correct answer. Now, the problem is that the listening will not just repeat the words that you can see here. The listening will probably take some of these words and change the word so it's the same meaning but has a different words. In other words, it will paraphrase. And we're going to look at what paraphrasing is now because it happens a lot in the listening. So what is paraphrasing? Well, paraphrasing is using synonyms and word families. And we're going to look at both of these because it's important to understand both of these separately. So let's start with synonyms. What is a synonym? A synonym is a word that has the same meaning as another word. So two words with the same meaning, like fantastic and amazing. They both mean very good. So those are synonyms. So we could have here, for example, the word membership. Well, a synonym for membership could be packages in this particular context when we're talking about a leisure centre. Or you might have the verb have, and it might use a word like offer or provide. Again, they're synonyms of the word have in this context. Equally, the word prices could use the word cost instead. So if these first ones here were in the question, maybe you would hear these instead in the listening. It's not likely that you would hear these in the listening. You would probably hear ones like these. Another thing that we mentioned is word families. So what is a word family? Well, a word family is a group of words that are related, but only their word type or class is different. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's have a look at some examples. Here we have the word vary, which is a verb, and you could also say the word variety. Now, vary and variety, they're not the same word, but they are related. Variety is the noun form of vary. Vary is the verb. Also, if you wanted an adjective from vary, we could have various, or another adjective is varied. So all of these together, we would call a word family. Let's take a look at another example. So here we've got the word range, which is a verb. You can also have range and you use it as a noun. And then another verb, but with a preposition, you could use ranging from. So we've got another word family there. All of them together are a word family. So how are they related to paraphrasing? Let's see. So what exactly is paraphrasing? Well, paraphrasing is using synonyms and word families to change the words in a sentence so that it looks different but has the same meaning. So you're not changing the meaning of the sentence, but you're just changing all of the words in the sentence, but you're keeping the meaning the same. Let's take an example here. We have a variety of memberships at a range of prices. So we saw some of these words before. We saw variety, we saw memberships before, we saw the word range, we saw the word prices. And we could take that and we can change the words and keep the meaning the same. We could say something like this. We, instead of have, you can see we've got the word offer. Instead of variety, we've changed it to various. So we've changed the word family here. Instead of memberships, we've changed it to packages. Instead of a range of, we've changed it to a verb. So this was a noun here, our range. Here it's been changed to a verb. So we've changed the word family. And then we've talked about prices. So we've got cost here. So low to luxury cost ones. And ones means packages here. So what we've done here is this first and second sentence, this sentence and this sentence, they have the same meaning, but all the words have changed. And that is what we call paraphrasing. And it happens a lot in the listening. You won't just hear the words in the question. The listening will always paraphrase the words. So you have to listen for synonyms and you have to listen for word families to try to find the correct answer. Okay, let's now go back to that matching features question. Again, let's just highlight the keyword. So it says, which membership matches each description? So again, these are the descriptions. These are the memberships. And you would have to listen and say, for number one, is it A, B, or C? And then for number two, is it A, B, or C? So again, the keywords we spoke about, facilities included, we had gym and pool, and we said just and use, we said only off-peak hours, and then we said green membership, and we said orange membership were some of those keywords. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you an extract from a listening, and you're going to listen and you're going to choose for number one. You're going to look at the question below and listen to me and choose the correct option A, B, or C. Okay. We offer a variety of packages to members of the Leisure Centre. Our cheapest one is the green membership. That allows you to access the vast majority of our facilities, including swimming and our gymnasium. It also includes most classes. The reason it's so cheap, though, is that it requires you to attend outside of our busiest times. So that is what you would hear in the exam, and you would have to match the correct option. And hopefully here you chose C was the correct option in this situation. Let's have a look at this together and see if we can understand why. So here is the script that I just read from. So let's look at this again and we'll see some of the synonyms that we can look at. So it says, we offer a variety of packages, okay, a variety of packages, different memberships. So could be green, could be orange, to members of the Leisure Centre. Our cheapest one is the green membership, okay? So we know it's cheap, but here it doesn't mention anything about price, so we don't know anything about that. It says, that allows you to access the vast majority of our facilities. Now, the vast majority is different to all. All means everything, all the facilities. The vast majority means most. So all and the vast majority are not synonyms. They don't have the same meaning. So A is not the correct answer. It says, including swimming and our gymnasium. So again, here it says, in B, it says you can just use the gym and pool. Well, here it said the vast majority, including swimming and the gymnasium. So you can use the pool and the gym and some other things as well. Because here, in the next sentence, it says, it also includes most classes. So just the gym, just the pool is not synonym with it includes most classes. So the correct answer is not B because of this. Then we could say now the answer is C because we know it's not A, we know it's not B. But if we look at the final sentence, it makes it really clear that it's C. It says, the reason it's so cheap, though, is that it requires you to attend outside of our busiest time. So outside our busiest times. Now, busiest times, we would say are peak hours. So outside of our busiest times means not peak. or it means off-peak hours. That's outside of our busiest times. So outside of our busiest times is the same as off-peak, and it requires you is the same as only for this thing. You must go at off-peak times. You can't go at our busiest times. So those two phrases make it clear that C is the correct answer. Now, this is something that happens a lot in the exam. For most matching features, it will not just talk about one. It will always mention, maybe not always, but most of the time, it will mention all three of them, like it did here. It spoke about facilities. It spoke about swimming in the gymnasium, the gym and the pool. And then it spoke about busiest times, off-peak hours. So it did speak about all of them. So you need to listen very carefully to exactly what is said to choose the correct option, because it will try to distract you, or it will give you other options. So that's how we would answer a matching features question. We would first highlight the keywords, think of synonyms, and then listen for those synonyms and try to match them up in the way that we did. Well, remember, if you have any questions, you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. Now, remember to go online to do the extra practice activities and tasks. And thank you very much for joining the class. We'll see you again. Bye.